When I first started working at an engineering and architectural design firm, there was a piece of equipment in the office that intimidated me. It was the plotter. If you've never seen one, imagine taking a printer and making it approximately the size of a small car. This thing is massive, expensive, and at the time we used it to print engineering drawings that were physically signed and sealed by our engineers. Then we'd scan them back into this massive printer computer and send them to our clients as official deliverables. So this wasn't exactly a printer you wanted to casually experiment with. When you're new at a job, there's already pressure. You're learning people's names, figuring out how things work, and trying to prove you know what you're doing. And then somebody walks along and says, "Hey, can you print these drawings for me?" And you're standing there thinking, yeah, sure, absolutely. While internally you're thinking, please don't explode. Please don't die. Because if something went wrong, it wasn't just, oops, the printer jammed. This machine was expensive, and a problem could hold up an entire important deliverable. So I was nervous. But eventually I realized something. Being nervous wasn't going to make me any better at using the plotter. Knowing how to use it, that would make me better at it. So I went to the person who knew the machine best and asked, "Hey, when you get a few minutes, would you mind teaching me a few more basic things on the plotter?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." He walked me through it. After that, the plotter wasn't nearly as intimidating. In fact, I gave her a nickname, Big Bertha. And Big Bertha is basically like a grandmother with a broken hip. She's capable, she's experienced, she's seen some things, but you have to treat her gently. Don't make any sudden movements. And maybe don't send 47 drawings through her at once. Over time, I learned how to load the paper, change the ink, clear jams, troubleshoot any type of problem that might come up, and talk to the repair people. Eventually, the machine that had once made me nervous became something I was comfortable operating. Then the person who originally took care of the plotter, well, he left the company for another job. And suddenly, I was the one of the people who knew the most about Big Bertha. I had become the person who people came to when something went wrong. But I remembered how nervous I'd been when I first started, and I didn't want the next person to feel that way. So I wrote a manual. A simple PDF, really, with screenshots. Here's how you change the paper, here's how you change the ink, here's how you order supplies, here's what to do when it jams, and most importantly, don't panic. Because sometimes documentation, it's not just about recording information, sometimes it's about giving somebody confidence. You're telling the next person, hey, this stuff happens. You didn't break anything, here's what you can try, and if that doesn't work, here's who you can call. I also ended up walking a couple other people through the process, and we improved the instructions along the way, because I learned another important lesson. Just because something makes sense in your head doesn't mean you've actually explained it well to somebody else. Eventually, more people knew how to operate the plotter. Someone else took over ordering supplies. Something that had once been my responsibility became a shared responsibility. And that's the bigger lesson Big Bertha taught me. There are 3 things I've learned about confidence. First, it's okay to be nervous. If you're nervous because you care about doing something well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes nervousness is evidence that you care. Second, ask questions. Find the person who knows the most and say, hey, can you show me how this works? You don't have to pretend you know something that you don't. You just have to be willing to learn. And third, help the person who comes after you. If you figured something out the hard way, don't make the next person figure it out the hard way too. Write it down, take a screenshot, make a checklist, show them in person. Because sometimes the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't an answer. It's confidence. You're saying, hey, you can do this. I've done it. Here's how. And if something goes wrong, that's okay. We all have Big Bertha in our lives somewhere. Maybe it's a piece of equipment, maybe it's a new software program, a new job, or a responsibility that looks enormous when you first encounter it. And when you're standing in front of it for the first time, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to ask questions because that's how you learn the system. And then once you've figured it out, well, leave a roadmap for the person who's coming behind you. Because one of the best ways to create confidence isn't just to become confident in yourself, it's to make it easier for someone else to become confident too. And if that means occasionally writing a boring manual about how a giant printer named Big Bertha works, Well, that's a pretty good trade.